Good afternoon, Professor Bhattacharya. Good afternoon, Shorbani ma'am. Good afternoon, Dhurjyoti sir. Thank you all for joining.
Ma'am, shall we start with your kind permission?
Yes, please.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
So, Balaji sir, you can just start the email.
Yes, yes. So, good evening to all who are a part of this webinar. And as we all know, the topic of this today's webinar, long ago, and actually it's on paleontology. And today we are fortunate to have Madam Sanjukta Chakravorti, a well-known paleontologist. And first of all, what is paleontology and why we need to know about it or why we need to study about it? That in brief, I'll inform. Madam has done enormous work in this particular field, and if you go through her web page, you will find a lot of works done by her. Paleontology is nothing but study of our ancient life, and that ancient life, how it was and how it transformed from one generation to another generation. Like simple example, if you have visited the prehistoric life park in Regional Science Center, we have variety of animals over there. Means we have animals that were there in the prehistoric life in water, in land, and in both the places. Like we have these dinosaurs. We don't know what is the shape of the dinosaur and what was the its means how it was living and whether it is a vegetarian. There are some dinosaurs which are vegetarians and there are non-vegetarians, and all these particulars we never know. But the work and the shape which we are able to see, like say the dinosaur will be look like this or the dinosaur will walk like this, all these things we are able to know because of this study of paleontology. And this work really gives us a vast knowledge of our past life, particularly about the ancient, means the prehistoric life. And this paleontology connects the geology also, because both are interconnected. Without geology, you cannot understand the paleontology. So, like this particular field has lot of scope in future, and there is plenty of scope that we can take it this particular field as a career. And to elaborate more on this, now without wasting much time, I request Madam Sanjukta to please take over and share her views about this particular paleontology and especially about the ancient past life and what are the future works that are going to happen in future. Madam, please continue.
Thank you very much for this introduction. Namaste and good afternoon to all my little friends. Good afternoon to my professors, teachers, my seniors, elderly, everybody who is present here. It's my honor to be able to present in front of all of you. And
Ma'am,
yes, Paleont. Yes.
ma'am, your video is fast and your audio is slow, ma'am.
Oh. Is it okay now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry for the connection lag. So yes, paleontology is the study of ancient life. So today, in this session, we will learn about the evolution of life, why we should study paleontology, and I shall try to give you a very brief idea of the time scale of how old was our Mother Earth. What are the different ages of fossils? In a short span of time, it is very difficult to show all the fossils or to explain all the different types of ancient life. But I will give a detailed view of the important fossils or ancient types of lives that you can find interesting. So, welcome all of you to the virtual time machine that we will all travel together today in this session. Hope you will all enjoy it and accompany me there. And the first part, we will literally have a time travel through the history of the earth. And after that, we will go step by step into different parts of India. We will travel together and visit the different parts of India from where various fossils have been collected. So, with this, I will start my presentation.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the land of dinosaurs and fossils. So, what do you all understand by the word fossils? Big, giant dinosaurs, like this one, right? Jurassic Park, correct? No. Fossils are not all about dinosaurs and Jurassic Park. They can be of fishes, amphibians,
Ma'am,
reptiles,
the audio is very low, ma'am.
many more. And dinosaurs did not live in a park called Jurassic Park. So today, we are going to get into a time machine and explore the mysterious, enigmatic world of fossils, paleontology, and as well as your favorite dinosaurs. First, let us come to a question. What are fossils? Well, fossils are remains or traces of plants and animals that lived a long time ago. Fossils help scientists understand what life was like millions of years ago. Some fossils provide evidence of living things that have gone extinct, which means that they are no longer found alive anywhere on the surface of the earth today. So, what is paleontology? Paleontology is the study of ancient life, from dinosaurs to prehistoric plants, fishes, insects, mammals, fungi, even microbes, bacteria, and viruses. Yes, you heard me correct. Viruses. We are all aware of the recent pandemic in which your schools are closed, caused by the coronavirus. That is a virus we encounter in the recent times. And yes, we do have viruses millions of years ago, and we do find fossils of them. Interesting, right? Well, fossil evidence reveals how organisms changed over time and what our planet, our very own Mother Earth, was like during those millions of years ago when that giant dinosaurs, fishes, extinct amphibians reigned the surface of the earth. And scientists like me who study fossils and work in paleontology are called paleontologists. So today, we will learn and see what are fossils, what paleontologists do, and learn how this earth formed. I am Sanjukta Chakravorti from the Indian Statistical Institute. I'm a geologist and a paleontologist and a paleobiologist. So what is geology, kids? Geology is the science behind the formation of the earth and the processes, the structures that work upon the surface of the earth, the formation of the earth. So today, we will also learn a little bit on geology as well. Today, I shall be your friend and accompany you all to that imaginary time machine for a time travel along deep time into the fascinating world of dinosaurs and fossils. As you can all see, the fossil behind me is that of a huge dinosaur called Barakosaurus tagori. This was excavated from Telangana in the southern part of India, and this dinosaur is housed at the Geology Museum of the Indian Statistical Institute. After this pandemic is over, which I guess will be soon enough, you can all come for a visit to it and wish him a hi or a hello. Today, in this session, we will learn about what are fossils, how fossils are formed, how old was different fossils, how life came into Earth and evolved, how continents formed, how old was our Mother Earth, and what is the geologic time scale? Well, as I was saying in the beginning,
ఇంత తడిగా ఉంటే ఆరినాయి కదా కొంచెం ఆరినాయి కదా కొంచెమే ఆరినాయి ఇవి ఆరినాయా
Madam, the audio got muted.
You are muted, that is why.
No, we have not muted you.
Yes, Sanjukta is muted.
No, we have not muted her.
But we
Is it
have.
okay now?
Yes,
Yes.
madam.
Okay, I'm very sorry.
Okay.
I'm starting the presentation again.
Okay.
Is it audible now?
Yes, ma'am, it's audible.
Sorry for the inconvenience.
range the surface of the Earth.
Was this part audible?
Yes, madam, it was audible.
So I am moving it forward.
Yes, ma'am.
Came into the surface of the Earth. So welcome to the geologic timescale. Our Earth is estimated to be about 4.54 billion years old. Very, very old. Just like we take care of the elderly, we must take care of our Earth too. And because it's so many years old, scientists measure it on the geological time scale. The geological time scale is divided up into geological time periods. Geological time periods are just like the stages of a person's life. People are babies for the first few years after they're born, then kids, then teenagers, then adults, and then old people like your grandparents. The Earth also has time divisions like this. Each one lasts for a few millions of years. When you measure how long you live, you can measure it in years, months, days, or hours. If you're 8 years old, you could say that you're 96 months old or 70,080 hours old. The geological time scale, in the same way, has bigger and smaller ways to divide up time. The 4.54 billion years old time period of the Earth is divided into eons, which is the biggest subdivision and of course the longest lasting and the most inclusive of these divisions. Then comes the eras, the second largest categories, which are shorter in time spans than the eons. Subsequent to these comes the periods. These are further shorter in time length and are further divided into epochs and ages. Our Earth is changing in characteristics always, ever since the time it was born. These divisions of time periods are based on the difference in characteristic features of the Earth in each of those time divisions. For example, changes in geology, climate, the absence and presence of life on the surface of the earth, and by the different kind of living things that were present in each of these time divisions. So you must be thinking, at what time did life originate on the surface of the earth and how did it evolve? Life came to earth long time after the earth was formed as a ball of fire. Let us imagine that we fit the entire 4.54 billion years of the earth's history into one calendar year time. That is, let us try to see the 4.54 billion years of Earth's growth in just 12 months span of time. Just like you celebrate your birthday and you grow every year, let us imagine that the Earth was born on 1st January. That is, 1st January is equal to 4.54 billion years. The Earth then was a sea of molten rocks, but during the month of January, the Earth started to cool down. And it's not until February 25th, that is 3.8 billion years ago, that any form of life appeared on the hostile, hot Earth. Simple form of life started appearing 3.8 billion years ago on 25th of February in the hot springs and water bodies. At this point, the simple life was single cell only. These are called the stromatolites. Nonetheless, February 25th can be called the birthday of life. It was not until 21st of March that another significant leap in the evolutionary history of life began. Photosynthesis. Photosynthesis was a revolutionary step in the next evolutionary significance of life. The earth before this lacked oxygen. Can you survive without oxygen? Well, very ancient, simple microbial life. The stromatolites before this time sustained in the hot springs and water bodies without oxygen. But 3.6 million years ago, on 21st of March, these simple celled organisms came near sunlight and converted sunlight into energy and free oxygen by photosynthesis. Thus, free oxygen came into the atmosphere and that changed all the mode of life. Now, you have to be patient till November. Only slow changes in the evolutionary pattern of life were constantly happening on the face of the earth. But then, again, there was a huge mayhem of activity of life in November. Fungi appeared in the soil on 15th of November, which is equivalent to 520 million years ago. Just after this, fishes. Every one of you eat fishes? Anyway, you must have seen it. In aquarium, beautiful fishes swimming around. These vertebrate fishes were swimming the ancient seas on 20th November, which is 468 million years ago. Hold your breath. Nowadays, you see many plants on land, right? Many of you have plants in your garden. But plants first emerged on the surface of the earth and especially on land on 22nd November, that is 435 million years ago. How many of you are afraid of spiders? Well, I am very afraid of them. But I love to eat lobsters that my mother cooks for me. Do you know that spiders and lobsters and horseshoe crabs all belong to the family called the arthropods? Ancient arthropods are now extinct, but they first appeared on the seas on 24th November, which is about 410 million years ago. And do you know what are the amphibians? Amphibians are the animals which can live both in the land and water. That is, to live in the water, they don't need to learn swimming like us. In the recent days, frogs, salamanders, and the newts are the amphibians. Well, long time ago, ancient amphibians which are now extinct, and we have only fossils of them emerged 320 million years ago, which is equal to 2nd of December. Well, are you thinking that 11 months have passed and where are the dinosaurs and where are the human beings? You still have to wait for some time for the dinosaurs to come. And the human beings appeared much, much later when the year was nearly coming to an end. Let's see. Approximately on 8th of December, that is 231 million years ago, the first dinosaurs appeared, which is a tiny eoraptor. Slowly, as time progressed, dinosaurs became gigantic creatures and ruled the earth. Still later, say on 18th of December, that is roughly 115 million years ago, birds came to the scenery of the earth. And then, when the year was nearly coming to an end, on 31st of December, at 11:30 a.m. in the morning, that is 2 million years ago only, the first hominids, our ancient relatives, walked on two limbs. It was nearly the ending of the year, at 11:24 p.m., nearing midnight, that is 300,000 years ago, that our ancient relatives, the Homo sapiens, appeared. So you see, the human beings and us are very, very young on the earth when compared to the existence of life on this planet. Though we now dominate the planet with our intelligence, we must not be complacent and respect and conserve all the other forms of life and try to maintain a balanced ecosystem. These dates that I said you are all nearly approximations and they change as more researches are constantly in progress. But I guess now that you have understood the geological timescale. And have you ever heard of the famous Industrial Revolution? Can you guess, compared to this calendar of the history of the Earth, how long a time ago it was? Well, the Industrial Revolution happened only 2 seconds ago.
Well, so now you have seen the time machine from when the Earth was formed 4.54 billion years ago to recent times when you are living. So with this, we will start on how fossils are formed. Let's see. Well, fossils are remains of body parts of ancient animals. For example, this one. This is a whale, as you can all understand, swimming blissfully in an ocean. The whale doesn't know as of yet that it will die, and that's a plant. So when these animals and living beings like plants die, and they are buried in the soil or water, they are deposited there, over time, they are overlain by even more sediments. These sediments slowly undergo compaction. The water is drained out of them. Even more sediments gradually start depositing over them. And after a long, long time, like millions and billions of years after, we get the fossils because the fossils decompose and disintegrate over time, leaving only the hard parts, that is the bones, the teeth, hard skeletons, which are preserved. Most of the soft tissues, the skin, the internal organs are all decayed and wasted out. And the bones, they are permineralized, that is, they are replaced by newer forms of minerals, which preserve the shape of the fossils or the bones. And after long periods of time, we get what is called fossils. For example, here you will see a short clip. This is a living animal, as I said. And here, the entire depositional history, as you have seen. the compaction happening, the dead carcass, decomposition and disintegration, and then further overlain by more sediments, and here we have fossils. So what we paleontologists do, we dig out the fossils. Over time, this is a recent animal, but over time the fossils disintegrate. As you can see here, all the soft parts, the internal organs are all decayed out and only the bone is left over. This hard part we find as fossils. This is the fossil skull which we excavated of a whale, which we excavated from Gujarat in the Kutch Basin. So the reason for showing you the skull of a whale is because the example I gave you is also from a whale. So when we find fossils in the field, they are not always intact. They are oftentimes broken. We need to identify them, look after them, and excavate them. You saw the whale in the previous picture, and this is the same whale after we excavated it and prepared it in the laboratory. This is the famous Remingtonocetus harodiensis, which lived 56 million years ago in India, or the location which India was at that point of time, and we excavated it from Gujarat. Coming next, what are the types of fossils? Fossils are of different types.
Dinosaur.
This is the body fossil. So what is a body fossil? These are body parts of animals like bones, the shells, the teeth, which are preserved over time. But body fossils are not the only type of fossils, because as I said before, fossils are remains of ancient organisms. So let's see what are the other remains. Next we have trace fossil. These are traces or prints left by the animals. For example, you have all seen earthworm crawl in the soil, leaving traces. If that gets preserved over time, here we have the footprint of a dinosaur. So you see, a little child like you is comparing his or her shape of hand with that of the footprint of a dinosaur. It's huge, right? So the trace of the footprint of the dinosaur is called the trace fossil. Not only dinosaurs, any organism. Next, we have beautifully preserved fossils in amber. They are the most exquisitely preserved, and most of their body parts are very intact. They are really collectibles. And next, you cannot imagine, we do have fossils of coprolites. What are coprolites? These are fossilized poops. And we have coprolite fossils of dinosaurs and many other animals. They help us to study what the animals ate, those are now extinct, and many other internal structures of the animal. So, now an important question. What does paleontologists do? Yes?
They search of different fossils, ma'am.
I didn't get you. Yes, you're right. They search for fossils. Absolutely correct. So let's see how they search for fossils. So do you think that they just wore hats, carried hammers, and walked about in the fields? No, not always. Yes, we walk around a lot in the sun, but we know the locations and we study the locations where we can find fossils. This is how we excavate fossils. This is a sandstone near the Damodar Valley in West Bengal, and there you find tiny little fossils embedded in the sandstone. Long time back, in deep time, the fossils, when decomposed, were carried by river channels, and the bones got disintegrated over time, and they were deposited in the riverbeds. Over time, when rocks were formed, the sediments consolidated to form sedimentary rocks, we find disarticulated fossils in them. Like here you can see excavating a tiny bone fragment, very, very small bone fragment with a chisel. So now you have a concept on the time scale, what paleontologists do, how fossils are formed. Now we will slowly travel all over India to see that how fossils are formed. So, do anybody of you know what is Gondwana? Well, the earth was not
I
divided.
know.
Yes, what is the Gondwana?
Gondwana is a supercontinent.
Okay, so let's see.
Ma'am,
The southern part of the
I thought it was called Pangea.
Correct.
Yes, ma'am, it's called Pangea.
Okay, correct. But let's see. So, in the beginning, the earth did not have all the 7 continents as it has now. The countries were not positioned in this way. All the countries were combined in a supercontinent called Pangea, as many of you correctly said. And then slowly, with progressing time, as you can see, the continents move by a process called plate tectonics. And slowly, the continents took the present day locations. The countries like India, Asia, Australia, which moves towards the southern part of the continent, are called the Gondwana countries. So India, in the peninsular part of India, like the Telangana, the southern part of India, Madhya Pradesh, West Bengal, all these parts have deposits or sedimentary rock from the Gondwana age. So let's see where they are and where we can find them. The Gondwana deposits in India are found in Madhya Pradesh in the Satpura province. So where is the Satpura province? To give you an idea, it is near the Satpura Tiger Reserve. Even we go inside the Tiger Reserve to carry out our fields. Then we have the Tiki Formation, that is the Son Valley, that also in Madhya Pradesh. We have the Pranhita Godavari Valley in Telangana, and we have the Raniganj Basin, the Panchat Formation, where we find fossils of Gondwana age in West Bengal. So with this idea, let us slowly move throughout India. First, let us drive into West Bengal, because here we will find some of the most ancient vertebrate fossils. So who are the vertebrates? Those which have a vertebral column. This age, called the early Triassic, was from 251 million years approximately to 247 million years, say, ago from the present time. This is a beautiful picturesque valley on the banks of river Damodar. As you can see from the bags kept here, that we find fossils here and we excavate from here. So how do we excavate? So we were walking in the field over the sandstone when suddenly we spotted a tiny pebble-like thing peeping out of the sandstone. We couldn't be sure that it was a fossil. So we started chiseling all around it. Yes, it was a fossil. And look what it revealed. It was a femur of an ancient animal called the Lystrosaurus. So which bone is the femur? This bone. The bone of your leg.
Leg bone.
Yeah, the leg bone. It is the femur. Right. Very good. So now we will drive to inside the Satpura Tiger Reserve in Madhya Pradesh. So many of you, I guess, have gone to Madhya Pradesh. Some of you who haven't, here you can time travel with me. We travel much along these paths, and we do get fossils there also. This is one of the most fossiliferous location in the Middle Triassic age, which is 247.2 million years ago to say roughly 237 million years ago. As you can see, these are all clay fields here, not sandstone anymore. Here also we find fossils. The famous Shringosaurus indicus, which was found and studied a few years back, was found from this place in Madhya Pradesh. Now let's drive to the southern part of India near Telangana. This is the late Triassic age, which is 237 million years and 201 million years in between the time. And this is the Pranhita Godavari Valley. And you can see that we are now ready. We got down from the car and we will be excavating or hunting for fossils. This is a huge fossilized tree trunk. As you can understand from the structure that it is a trunk, but it is not of recent times. It is completely permineralized and it just lay uncared for in the mounds of red mudstone. There we find sandstones also, not only mudstones, also sandstones that I had shown previously. And you see, in this way we can spot fossils sticking out. We do not get the entire fossil just the way you see it after being prepared in the laboratory or the way you see it in the museum. So this is the way how we spot a fossil. And then we start excavating it. These are the various tools that we use for excavating or exposing the bones gradually. This is a fossilized rib of an ancient extinct mammal. We still need to find out what it is. And from the same location, we found an ancient amphibian, lots of bones of it, nearly the complete skeleton. So this is the skull. We found lots of vertebra. We found the forelimb, the hind limb, that is the humerus, and the femur. And you can see, well, it's nearly my size. So it was huge. And this is all found from Telangana, the Pranhita Godavari Valley Basin. What do we do next? We plaster the fossil. Once we find it in the field, we expose the fossil and then we plaster it to carry it securely to our lab for studies. And this is the same plaster that you use in your homes. Yes. Let's move on in the same place in Telangana. Now we advance a bit in age. 201.3 million years ago. This is the Jurassic Age, the age after which the famous Hollywood movie The Jurassic Park was named. And from there, from a place called Pochampalli, this famous fossil of India, the sauropod dinosaur, Barapasaurus tagori, was excavated. The entire skeleton is mounted in the ISI museum, as I had said. And it is really interesting. It is called Tagore because the excavation was carried out in the birth centenary year of the famous poet Rabindranath Tagore. But that is not the end of it. India has a lot of fossils, and it is not possible to describe all of it to you in one go. So I'm just giving you an idea. We are still moving further in age. That is, we are slowly moving towards the recent times, but still we are 145 to 66 million years ago from now. We are driving towards Gujarat in western part of India from the southern part. And there we have a theropod dinosaur that is a carnivore, a ferocious theropod in the Lameta formation of the Gujarat state. And here you can see the skull of it. Its name was Rajasaurus narmadensis. But not only in Bhopal Museum, we also have Cretaceous dinosaur in our museum also. It is called the Iosaurus colberti, and you can see that it is huge. It's absolutely huge. Let me give you an estimate of how large these dinosaurs were. Well, these dinosaurs were huge when they are compared to a 6-foot human being. And they flourished all over the world. But 65 million years ago, all the dinosaurs were dead. How? 65 million years ago, a huge asteroid hit the surface of the Earth. They created shock waves, which triggered earthquakes at the magnitude of nearly 11. The Earth became a hell of a place to live in. And that killed most of the dinosaurs. And that was the extinction of the dinosaurs. No dinosaurs continued further in age after the Cretaceous. And we are blessed because, as you can imagine, that if we lived in the time of dinosaurs, we wouldn't have survived. Now let's move further in time. We are now coming from the Cretaceous 65 million years ago to 47.8 million years ago. So you see, you're coming more towards the recent times. And this is again in Gujarat, western part of India, where many of you must have visited or read in your geography books. This is the Kutch Basin. And this is the very known gastropod fossils. The shells that you see in the recent seas, they were also there long time back, 47 million years ago. And so you can well understand that the environment, what kind of climate was there in the Kutch? It was a marine environment. So the Kutch, the present day Kutch, 47 million years ago, was a sea environment where these shells survived, and we now have the fossils of them, as well as whales were also there. But this does not end the fossil chronicle of India. We also have another huge area of fossil in the Shivaliks. That is the Shivalik Fossil Park Museum in the Himachal Pradesh. But they are of more recent ages, approximately 3 million years after India collided and it became joined with Asia. With this, we have traveled more or less in India, but you definitely have missed some of the brilliant, beautiful fossils around the world. I will show you some very important and excellent fossils which are best preserved in 2 places around the world. So, you look at it. We are now again going back in time when there were fishes, the age of the fishes, that is 419 million years ago. And look at this. This fish, which is called a tiktaalik, is technically a fish. It has gills. It still swam in the water, but it did not only stay in the water. It moved to the land also, and it supported its body weight in the 4 fins that it had. When you see a fish in the aquarium, you will see that they just swim with the help of fins. They don't support their body weight. But this tiktaalik could support its body weight in the 4 fins it had, and it could stay for some time in the land. This gave rise from the fishes to the tetrapods. Tetra means 4 and pods are the legs. So tetrapods are the development of the other forms, all 4-legged creatures on the surface of the earth. So with this, we nearly complete an overall history of fossils, and we time travel in a time machine around. So you hold your breath and you think of what you saw. And while you return back to the reality in the present times and ask questions, you just think what time you belong to.
Hello everyone. The time machine has already landed and it's time that we get back to reality. I hope you have all enjoyed the session. If you would want to hear about any extinct animal in particular, any geological age or any topics on geology or paleobiology, you could email me in indianfossils@gmail.com with your name and class and school, or in the email ID chirpymoni2009@gmail.com. You can also visit my YouTube channel, paleoscience_Sanjukta, after 20th of September for very many interesting videos. Bye-bye.
అయిపోయింది మేడం
if any one of you have questions.
Ma'am, how is archaeology different from paleontology?
Well, paleontology is a study of living forms which are prehistoric. That is, you always count them like in 250 million years, in 410 million years, but archaeology is more recent in time, from the time we find the evolution of our ancestors, the humans, but not deep in time to the dinosaurs age or to the extinct fishes or the extinct microbes.
Ma'am, is Gondwana in the lower part of Pangaea?
Yes, not Pangaea, it is in the southern part of the earth. You know, the earth is there in the northern hemisphere and there is a southern hemisphere. Pangaea was when all the continents were together as one united continent, and that was called Pangaea. And then the continents slowly broke apart. And the continents which moved together towards the south of the earth are called the Gondwana continents.
Madam, there is a question in the chat box by Yavi.
Sure.
She says that she searched about unicorn, that like, unicorn existed a long back, and people found the fossils. Is it true? That was the question by Yavi.
You can imagine unicorns. They are imaginary creatures, and I love them too. But in fantasy, unicorns I don't think exist in real fossil world. But it is always good to imagine. But no, not in fossil records. But I love unicorns too. They are beautiful in the magical world.
I hope your question is answered, Yavi. Thank you. Anyone else would like to ask something about the paleontology or the how did you feel about the presentation? And please kindly feel free to ask, madam.
Just to, okay, just to congratulate Sanjukta, it was a nice talk. Thank you. Thank you for the
ma'am.
arrangement.
Thank you for joining it. It was an absolute honor.
I got a question.
Yeah, Raja. Yes, Raja.
Yeah, I am from Andhra Pradesh, so I'm wondering, what is the scope of further explorations in the Andhra Pradesh, especially the Godavari Basin? I came to know that these historical events such as a volcanic eruption in the Western Ghats and the lava flows, all the way to the Godavari Basin here in the Andhra. So, what is the scope of finding more fossils in this Andhra Pradesh belt, especially in the Godavari region?
Yes, the Pranita Godavari Valley Basin has rocks deposited from various ages. So the ages, we get volcanism in one age, we get trap fossils or intertrapian fossils in different parts of India. But the fossils that we excavated, the dinosaur fossils, which I showed, are excavated from the sedimentary rocks, which are distinctly different in age. So what are the probability of finding actually varies from every field work. Like it so happens that in one field work, we explore an area which we perhaps did explore in the past years also, but through years, erosion has taken place, the river has cut its valley, and new fossils are exposed because we can't go about trenching the entire area. That's not possible. And oftentimes we also find virgin areas where newer exploration sites are exposed. So for that, we need to do rigorous field works over ages, and really even field work there started even before I was born. So through ages, it carries on and it opens newer field of fossil excavation and probabilities.
Ma'am, what
There
is
are always
T-Rex?
probabilities.
Ma'am, what is T-Rex?
Well, T-Rex is a very ferocious, a violent, and carnivorous dinosaur that lived during the Cretaceous. Well, you saw, I showed you a picture of a theropod, that is Rajasaurus from Gujarat. T-Rex is a nearby relative to it, looks somewhat like it, and it was a carnivorous and it hunted in groups. Like some of the animals in these days you see hunt in groups. The T-Rex also hunted in groups and it ate meat and flesh. It was not a vegetarian.
Ma'am, what's the Spinosaurus?
The Spinosaurus is also another group of dinosaur. But till now, I don't think we found any Spinosaurus right from India. But dinosaurs were very varied in form, as you will find a lot of name in the internet. You have T-Rex, you have Spinosaur, you have Hadrosaur, lots of name. But the most important part is to understand that dinosaurs are not the only fossils or not the only form of ancient life that we find. We have amphibians, which you haven't seen. We have fishes, and we have lots other types also, which you must learn to understand how you people evolved ultimately now.
Ma'am,
What did the ancient dinosaurs eat?
What?
What did the dinosaurs eat?
Well, it varied, just like our diets vary. Some of us are vegetarian, some of us are non-vegetarian, and some of us eat both the things. The dinosaurs were same. Some dinosaurs, like the one we have in ISI mounted skeleton of Barapasaurus, that was a vegetarian. And the T-Rex, which you were all saying, that was a non-vegetarian. That was a carnivorous. And there were also some dinosaurs which were both vegetarian and non-vegetarian. They are called omnivorous.
Ma'am?
Ma'am,
Yeah.
how do paleontologists and scientists understand the dinosaur's color?
Very good question.
Excellent.
It's a really good question. They understand the dinosaur's color by the color pigment that has been preserved. For example, you see different colors in birds, right? A crow is black in color, a kingfisher is vibrant in color. So, how are these colors formed? These colors are formed by color pigments. For example, melanin is a type of color pigment, but that is not the only one. There are several types of color pigment. These color pigments have their structures preserved on the surface of the bones, which scientists can study using various instruments and techniques to determine the exact color of the dinosaur.
Ma'am?
Ma'am,
Ma'am, what did the
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am,
Ma'am, what did the Therizinosaurus eat? Was it a herbivore or a omnivore?
Which one?
Therizinosaurus.
I still did not get you. Can you write in the chat box, please? There is an echo. I cannot understand you.
Yes, ma'am.
ma'am,
Yeah, one at a time. Can you just put it in a chat box so that we can just yeah, Vijeshwari, you can just
ma'am, like Godzilla, Gondwana, what are the continents? What are the name of the continents which move north?
They are called the Laurasian continents. So the continents which move north are the Laurasian continents, and those which move south are the Gondwana continents. Very good question.
Ma'am, are any Dilophosaurus found in India, ma'am?
What saurus?
Dilophosaurus.
No, I don't know any of such name, but then you can also check it. But till now, I don't know.
Okay.
Ma'am, the dinosaur has a long tail.
Some dinosaurs have long tail, not all. The tail is...
Ma'am, Dilophosaurus, he told.
What?
Madam, is there any photos of dinosaurs?
Yeah, there are thousands of photos of dinosaurs. Thousands. You can search internet, you can buy postcards. There are thousands of postcards of dinosaurs and pictures.
Ma'am, can you tell us more about the Lucy fossil?
Oh, well, interesting question. This Lucy fossil is, one of the hominid fossils, but not really covered in this session. So do you have, I will answer this question at the last. So do you have any, because this will take a bit time, do you have any question about the ancient life? before I get back to Lucy.
Ma'am, I have a question. You said that we can they're using special techniques. You can figure out what colors prehistoric creatures were. Well, can you give examples of what creatures and dinosaurs were what color?
The dinosaurs were varied in color. Some parts of them were blue, some of them were camouflaged with nature with greenish tint in them, and we till now do not know the color of all the dinosaurs. That is still for you people to become
How do
scientists.
you know where to dig?
Ma'am, can you tell?
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yeah.
Ma'am, my question is that T-Rex, Spinosaurus, and Hadrosaurus, these are extinct animals.
Yes. They are. You won't find them there now. Even if you try, you only find fossilized bones of them.
Ma'am, ma'am, how do you know where to dig to find the fossils?
Very good question. You see, I have said you the ages, right? In which ages which animal lived. So these ages, the rocks of these ages are deposited in different periods of time. So when you study the geology books or your little geography books, you will know which areas in India you have the Gondwana deposits. There you will find particularly those fossils which lived during that period of time. Similarly, if you go back in time, like if you go to the Ladakh, the Spiti Valley, you will find trilobite, arthropod fossils there. So you need to know the age, the rock that was deposited, and where it was deposited in the present day continent. And then you can have an idea where to find what fossils. So can I get back to
Ma'am, in ancient time, there will be dinosaurs, ma'am.
what?
Ma'am, when you have
In
the
ancient times, in India, there will be dinosaurs.
One at a time.
One at a time, please. One at a time. Or else you can just put it on a chat box so that we can just read the questions and.
And I can tell about Lucy in the meantime.
Yes.
Okay, so Lucy
Ma'am,
was
in ancient times, there will be dinosaurs in India.
Yes.
No, we won't have dinosaurs in the future in India. We had them long time back. Millions of years back, we had them in India.
Ma'am.
Hello, ma'am. I am Yavi. So I wanted to. Hello, ma'am. I am Yavi. I wanted to ask that, can dinosaurs be made in the lab by the amber crystals holding the mosquitoes?
That's a very good question. That is a branch that you need to study later called paleogenomics. But till date, we cannot make dinosaurs in a lab. But we do find genetic sequences, not of dinosaurs, not of that age, but of ancient humans, but not of dinosaurs. But perhaps when you grow to become a scientist, you will have it developed. We can always hope. But now
Can I interject? Can I interject here for a bit?
Yeah, I think we have a paleogenomics person with us.
Okay,
ma'am. When you have a full skeleton of a dinosaur,
Can we make DNA in lab?
Skeleton of a dinosaur. How do you know which dinosaur is it?
I think let me complete with Lucy first because she asked the question
Yes.
long back, and then I can take more questions. Well, Lucy was one of our very, very distant relatives, I would say. It was one of the hominid fossils belonging to the group called Australopithecus africanus. It was discovered from some place in Africa. And, we do not find the entire part of it, complete skeleton of it yet.
Thousands of people come to visit Lucy.
Yes, thousands of people go to visit Lucy, and Lucy is mounted.
Ma'am, how many dinosaurs, madam?
Lucy is mounted in many places around the world, but we have an approximation of it. All the parts of the fossils I don't think are founded, but that's not what the literatures have as of yet reported.
Ma'am, when you have a full skeleton of a dinosaur, how do you know which dinosaur is it?
Well, when you study, for example, can you say that your friend is different from you? So how do you tell it? You have your best friend, right? So you can identify
one dinosaur.
the skull shape varies,
Ma'am.
the morphology is different, the shape of the body is different, their movement is different, their size is different, their diets are different. They're completely different creatures, and that way you can distinguish them, just as you can
Ma'am?
distinguish between two friends.
Ma'am?
Ma'am?
Ma'am? Ma'am? Can we
Yes,
find dinosaurs in Laurasia, ma'am, in olden days? Laurasia.
Yes, Laurasia also had fossils. Dinosaur fossils varied from those in Gondwana, Laurasia. We do have fossils of them, but their kinds and their types, they were different. But yes, they were. When the Earth was together, the animals could freely run about there.
Ma'am?
Okay,
Yes?
ma'am.
How do you understand that
How many dinosaurs?
who is a carnivorous and who is a herbivorous?
A carnivorous is one who eats meat, flesh, and herbivorous is one who is a vegetarian, eats vegetables, trees, roots. So you understand?
Ma'am.
Yeah, his question was actually how do we find out that?
Okay,
Yeah.
we can find it out by the structure of the teeth. For example, when we find very sharp canine-like teeth and it has deep striations, which are called the carinae, we can tell that it was a carnivore. The teeth edge is very sharp, much like the canines. And when we find blunted teeth, for example, with the striations not very prominent, for example, we can say that they were herbivorous. Also, generally, the sauropods, which had long necks, they could easily bite off leaves from the tall trees. So, by analyzing the structure of the teeth and the structure of the animal, you can tell that what kind of diet it had.
Ma'am.
Yes.
How can we say
Thank
about
you,
dinosaur
ma'am.
skin's texture?
I didn't get you. What?
Ma'am, one paleontologist, how can he or she say about that about dinosaur skin's texture?
This is a good question. It all depends upon the mode of preservation. Like if you have fossils which are more or less dominantly deposited in environment where river was there, so you can understand if a fossil gets deposited in a riverbed, the river will flow over it and it will get disarticulated and thrown off in different directions. But if an animal just dies and falls in a lake, it will just settle at the bottom and be very good preservation. When we have brilliant preservation in lake environments, for example, the skin also leaves an imprint.
Okay.
It is much more like leaving an imprint. It is very well preserved. We only get structure of the skin in very well preserved fossils, not in all fossils. We cannot understand structure of skin in all the fossils. So how do we tell? By getting best preserved fossil, we approximate it in the nearby relatives of the fossil.
Ma'am, is it possible to say about the texture of skin by only observing the fossils with bone, which preserve with bone?
Okay. Well, some fossils you get only the bones, like I was showing. One femur, one humerus. But
Yes.
when you get the entire skeleton preserved in an articulated state, that is just the way the animal was. As I said, you get when the animal dies and it is not disturbed by water or any other agent and it just settles down, sediment falls over it, and it gets fossilized over millions of years of time. So you can understand that fossils won't break down and get disarticulated. In those cases, the fossil is entirely preserved. You get the bones, the hard parts, the organs decay over time, but some soft tissue, the tiny and the very tender parts also gets preserved in these very good preserved fossils. In this way, you can understand the skin. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
How do you know what they ate? How do you know what the dinosaurs ate?
How do you know
what the dinosaurs ate?
Age.
Okay. Well, as I said, we see the teeth structure, where they lived, how they looked. For example, if the dinosaur had blunt teeth, like not very sharp, not like the canines, the teeth did not have much striations. They lived in an area where there were big trees and they had long necks. Then we can guess that perhaps it was a herbivore. And if the dinosaur had very sharp teeth with deep carinae, that is striations, and it was very agile, it could run about to catch a prey, you can understand a big, huge dinosaur cannot run and chase a prey. So it will be more standing there and eating the trees and leaves. But if you have to hunt, you need to run. So in this way, by understanding the structure of the teeth and the morphology, we get to know what they ate, the environment where they lived, what kind of food was available at that time.
Hello, ma'am.
Thank you.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, actually, I know like there are many questions which are coming up. Just like what I feel is actually, ma'am, can you take few more or shall we?
Yeah, I can take a few more.
Go through
Okay.
the chat box.
Hello,
There are
ma'am.
a lot
Yeah,
of
please.
questions.
Actually, what we can do is you can just raise your hands, or else you can just put it in a chat box. Like instead of everyone making this thing, we'll try to answer. And in case if you're like very much this thing, you can just send your questions to the
You
email
can
ID
always
whatever you have
email
provided
me.
there. Yeah, you can mail to the mail ID what I have provided in the chat box, and we shall try to get back you as soon as whenever we see the questions. Okay, and just
Ma'am?
Skandan, actually Skandan Shankar, can you just, he's raising his hands from long time.
Yes.
Skandan, yes, Skandan.
Like in the dinosaurs times, right? Were there little mammals living in the age where little mammals started when dinosaurs were close to where dinosaurs died, right? In that kind of Triassic age, did the mammals also came?
Yes, the mammals were there, but they were not dominating everywhere. So now when you think of mammals, you think human beings, whale, all big creatures. But during the times when the dinosaurs were gigantic and big, the mammals were tiny. They have just come on the surface of the earth. They were just
And size.
What?
Like for the dinosaurs, the small mammals are like for the ants.
Are you asking like what is the size of the mammals
Size,
at that time?
They were
comparative
very
size.
tiny. They could hide beneath the trees. They could hide in caves. They were not as big as the dinosaurs.
Ma'am? Ma'am, is it true that the T-Rexes were covered in feathers?
Yes, the birds evolved from the dinosaurs. And it's true that the T-Rexes were covered in feathers. So, any more questions?
Swati Mukherjee, yes, Swati Mukherjee.
Shashwati Mukherjee.
Shashwati Mukherjee.
Yes. My name is Arush Mukherjee, but my mother's name is Shashwati Mukherjee.
Okay, hello,
Yeah,
Arush.
fine. Actually.
Yes, when we were talking about the teeth, depending on the teeth, I knew you were talking about the Brachiosaurus that time.
Well, not only the Brachiosaurus, that you can always Google out and find in the internet. There are several dinosaurs with the same structure of the teeth.
Yes.
Ma'am,
Yes?
is there any fossils in Bangalore?
Well, you have to search for them. Why don't you come to field with us once?
Yes, ma'am.
I think Vedesh has raised
Yes, Vedesh.
his hand like for a long time in the chat box, and Ryan Banerjee posted
I
lots
have a
same
good
question.
question. Were the continents a Pangea when dinosaurs existed? No, the Pangea was already breaking up. It was Cretaceous. The continents were slowly beginning to form by the plate tectonic process, and it was not the Pangea, the supercontinent, when the dinosaurs existed.
Ma'am, I would like to go to the field.
Sure, you're welcome.
Ma'am, how do you go to the field?
Sure, we can
Ma'am,
arrange.
even I.
Ma'am, is it true that all dinosaurs were covered in scale?
Yeah, all dinosaurs were covered in skin, but we do not get the fossils of skin in all the dinosaurs. We only get them very rarely in the best preserved ones.
Hello, ma'am. What is the reason of their body covered in scales? Is there any specific reason?
Scales, actually meant by the scales, covered with the scales.
Okay. It depends upon the environment where the animal was living. You see, the structure is
Okay, ma'am.
varies from animal to animal.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ma'am, what is the name of the ancient lion, ma'am?
What?
Ancient lion.
Name.
Can you write in the chat box? I cannot hear anything.
Hello, ma'am.
It's
Ma'am. Ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, it's called saber tooth.
Okay,
Ma'am,
you're talking
saber-tooth?
about the saber-tooth. Okay, the saber-tooth tiger, you're telling. Yes.
Hello, ma'am.
cat. Saber-tooth cat.
Yeah, right. You can write in the chat box or you can email me because I think the connection is disturbing.
Yes,
here.
actually, it's getting disturbed. Actually, and it's been too long now. Students
Ma'am?
and the friends, can we just like you can just put your questions in the mail so that we'll be just answering all of you. Okay, we'll not miss
You can
all your
email me
questions.
with
Yeah,
all your questions
yes.
as many as you have. Yes.
Ma'am?
Yeah.
Which was the first dinosaur?
The first dinosaur was named Eoraptor. You can find this in Wikipedia also. It is called Eoraptor. It was tiny one, not very big.
Yes,
Ma'am,
actually,
can I ask
we are.
something?
Yeah,
Ma'am,
we
can we
just
visit? Ma'am, can we visit Indian Statistical Institute of Kolkata right now?
After the pandemic is over, you have to take permission from the Geological Studies Unit in the Indian
Yes.
Statistical Institute, and then you can come and have a look at it.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Ma'am,
Yeah,
can
actually-
I ask something? Ma'am, which is the smallest dinosaur?
I think it is Eoraptor, but this you can find in the internet as well because the researchers are always varying and these facts are always updated.
Well,
Ma'am,
actually,
can I
I know.
ask-
You can just always put your questions in the mail, please. Actually, we are running short of time, and
But you also have very interesting animals apart from the dinosaurs.
yes, yes.
I live just nearby the ISI.
Oh, really? Then I will meet you sometime.
Yes, ma'am. With your kind permission, can we just,
Sure.
sir, Balaji, sir, you can just end with
Yeah,
a final note.
Actually, it was really nice talk, and of course, the students are more enthusiastic about the particular topic, and see a lot of, I think, nearly about more than 50 questions they were posed, and thanks for your patience for answering them coolly. And of course, more are in pipeline. I think the questions are there.
I am very happy
definitely,
to answer their questions. I will
definitely
answer
will take.
everyone.
Yeah. Definitely, we'll take them through mail and forward to you. And at your free time, definitely you can answer those questions. And maybe with the response, we are also inspired, and maybe we'll definitely try to arrange for one more talk, so that maybe you can highlight about the research and career opportunities in this particular paleontology field. So that because by the name itself, say dinosaur, mostly the students are very much excited, and all I suggest them what it is. Of course, many people are from Kolkata, and if you want to see some of the models of the dinosaurs, definitely you go and visit the Science City. And Science City, we have working models of Science City, and Science City is a network of National Council of Science Museums. And in fact, in Tirupati also we have a prehistoric life park, and you can see the models and even the working model.
Yes.
So thank you from our side, from Regional Science Center Tirupati. We thank you for accepting our invitation, Madam Sanjukta, and even your colleagues who have joined and supported you. And we thank them also for joining this webinar. And we hope in future also definitely you will accept our invitation and coming for one more lecture. And thank you one and all. And thank you for the participants who have participated and asked the questions. And I hope we tried our best to answer your questions. And those who are not able to answer, definitely you mail your questions and we'll send to madam, and madam will answer you at soon. Okay. Thank you one and all.
Very much to Regional Science Center Tirupati for arranging this talk. It was my pleasure to be able to present this to the kids. It was difficult to give the entire session and give an idea of all the fossils, but it's my humble request that your endeavor is to inspire kids about the ancient life is really great, and I would like them to learn not only about dinosaurs but also of the life which was before there and after there, apart from the dinosaurs as well. And definitely I thank all my colleagues, my friends, my fellow scientists like Annesha Shaha and others who were there.
Ma'am, my small
Thank you all.
request, ma'am. Ma'am, can you say
Yes.
ma'am, can you say about plankton, ma'am?
What?
Ma'am, can you please
Can
give
you
your
please email me? I'll answer
Yeah,
every
please.
one of.
Yeah,
ma'am,
we have just
ma'am, can
provided
you
you the
please
mail
give
ID
your
in the
email
chat
ID
box.
in the
Please,
chat
please,
box?
please
Yeah,
check
sure.
Yeah,
the
it is in
please.
the chat box,
For your next
and you can
question, please
contact
contact
Regional Science
about
Center also.
plankton, ma'am.
Sure. We'll just do it. Okay, please put it in a chat box, and you can see we have just put the mail IDs on the chat box. Like you got rsctedupr@gmail.com, and other one is indianfossils@gmail.com. Yeah, you can just post your questions in this mail IDs, and we'll try to answer you. And we also thank a special thanks to Raja Shekhar Bandi and Chandrasekhar Bandi. These are the brothers actually who are always
Okay.
behind this nature. And thank you, Raja and Chandrasekhar.
Thank you,
And
Mr. Bandi, for this amazing session.
yes, I hope like everyone enjoyed it. Yeah, Raja, you have got anything to say?
No, I'm just thanking, and thanks for this wonderful session, and we look forward for more sessions. Thank you.
Sure, Raj. Thank you, madam. It's like a great day for us. Like, end of this Saturday. I mean Sunday. It's a great weekend for us, and I hope it was same to you.
Yes,
And
very happy one.
yes, and I hope all the kids will take forward this ignition as this as an ignition, and uh, take their career choice as a paleontology or geologist. Thank you, madam. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.
Meet you all soon with the other session,
Bye-bye.
exciting session very soon. Have a great day and happy weekend. Thank you. Thank you, madam.
Bye bye. Excuse
Thank
me.
you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye.
I just have one last thing.
Yes, madam.
Bye,
Yes,
ma'am.
madam.
Thank you for
Well,
fun.
one girl asked me about can we build dinosaurs in the lab?
Yes.
We already have one of the scientists with us called Anisha Shaha, so she was waiting to answer that question, but I couldn't just. She can tell just 2 words if you have time. She's joining us from Poland. Just 2 minutes, Anisha.
Okay.
Because we have a
So
next session.
basically, you cannot rebuild. That's a sci-fi movie. So, but yes, you can definitely extract DNA from million years old, like not more than 1 million year old. But yes, we have a recent technology developed. It's called ancient DNA, where we work on all these specimens like excavated in 1,000 years, 5,000 years ago. And yeah, I'm actually working for my doctoral research on that.
Thank you, Anisha.
Bye. Thank you, Sanjukta.
Thanks a lot.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye,
Bye.
ma'am. Bye, ma'am. Bye, ma'am.
Bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.
Thank you for the fun. Bye, ma'am. Bye, ma'am.